Welcome to the Cisco Show. Don't touch that remote. We got a great show here today. Today our show is going to be about history. Okay, so what's new? The history we haven't read. What's new? The historic buildings and places that you haven't visited yet. And that's when you got to do. You got to start visiting and look at what's going on, what happened before we got here, okay? So, my guest today is from the board of Selma House, and that's located up on between Erie and Marshall and Hawes Avenue and Selma Street.
Right.
And Selma Street and Selma House.
Yes, it's Selma Mansion
and,
up there.
Maryann
Buser.
Yep. And you're Vice President of the Norristown Preservation Society of Selma, or Mansion. Okay,
Yes.
I say building, mansion, okay. What's the difference between the mansion and the building?
Well, basically it's the same thing. It is a building, it's just the size. People will call it a mansion. It's the same, it's a building.
Yeah, that's like when I was down south and says, what's the difference between a farm and a plantation? He says, well, a farm, he says, if a plantation, if you have more than 4 or 5 workers, it's a plantation.
Yeah.
So you have a board now, so that makes it a mansion, right?
Yeah, well, that's what it's been called. At one point it was Selma Farm because
Right.
it was 140 acres. The house predates Norristown itself. It was built 1794.
What year?
1794.
Wow.
The gentleman who built it was a very good friend of George Washington's.
Right.
It was a friend of George Washington's. He was one of his inner circles during the Revolutionary War. He was one of our first Marine captains. He was in charge of the artillery.
He was like he was an architect and builder.
Well, he wasn't an architect. He was. At that time, you could pick a design out of a book and build it because that was a popular way to do it.
Yeah.
But the man himself was a phenomenal piece of U.S. history that you forget about that's here, and how Norristown and how the whole area influenced U.S. history. One of the things, it's a small little thing, but one of Andrew Porter, who was the man who built the house, his great-granddaughter was married to Abraham Lincoln. She was Mary Todd Lincoln. So we have a lot of that history.
A lot of, relations.
It's a lot of international basically, history.
So if I just pinpoint, what makes this building outstanding and historic?
The families first who lived there, they were just regular families.
Regular family.
Yeah, that's when they were together. I mean, they did phenomenal things, but they were a family. They were a husband and wife and 3 sons and a daughter. The house was sold to another local family when he passed away. And again, family together. But also for me, what's interesting is the servants that stayed there, how it influenced Norristown's growth, because they have people work there. They've had, it brought in businesses to help the buildings.
Yeah.
A train came up into town, restaurants were formed, and that was for all the big buildings.
They paid people with groceries and stuff like that.
Yeah, or it depends on, they didn't get paid a lot. There was no income tax, which I wish. I have a couple questions here. I have a question from the audience, a lady up there with the green hat. How does the history of Selma Mansion relate to Norristown, Pennsylvania? Well, as I mentioned, it predates.
What's that?
It predates the town itself. To me and to a lot of other people, it hits everybody who's here. Their families probably came to Norristown. And because of the job opportunities, these big houses, not just Selma, but all those beautiful big houses you see that are now falling apart or being, well, a number of them are being redone as businesses. Those people needed the help of the people that moved to Norristown. And people would come to Norristown to visit. There'd be one of Andrew Porter's son, he started Lafayette College. Lafayette College was named after that because Porter was a good friend of Lafayette's.
Oh.
Lafayette gives credit for Porter for saving him for something. So a lot of people would come in. Also, like a house like Selma, you're talking the Civil War. The Civil War in Norristown we had a lot of men join.
Right.
Not just the Irish and the Italians that were here were more Irish at that period, but also the free black community. They would join because there was a local area for training, so that they could help their brothers in the South gain their freedom. So these houses, not just because it's a building, it's the people and the activities around the building.
People that make it,
and the whole community that made it.
Well, what was mostly nationalities that were there? Mostly Irish and German?
Well, the Porters, I think, were more English, Welsh, more the British at that point. The Knoxes also have the British. Early 1800s would be, that's when my family came, the Irish famine. So they'd work and then start buildings, and then the Italians came in. The Germans were always here. After the Civil War, a lot of the black population moved into Norristown for jobs, and it was a better positions they could get. They could buy their own homes. So that's how people just keep coming in that form.
Yeah, most of the towns that were successful had a river alongside of it, you know, and then a railroad.
That's
so
what we
had
have.
The railroad, we had the river, you know, and it never really developed the way it should have been, because they started one time was O'Neill or somebody who was supposed to develop it. You had the riverfront and this, that, and the other thing, and I don't know what, he bailed out or something. I don't know what happened.
Well, that's more current versus when they started, the river brought trade and commerce into Norristown. And that's where a preservation society would try to show people what you have and how that could help you bring into a town just the pride in the town and try to bring it back up. I've seen it very successful in some places and not so successful. So it's an ongoing process.
I don't know, you know, I see everything these towns developed all around Norristown, like Conshohocken, Ambler, and different places that, you know, and we, for some reason or other, I think one of these days somebody's going to come in, you know, and just like they did down South Philly, you know, along South Street, there was nothing. The place was falling apart. Next, somebody come in and next year, you get an apartment down there, it cost $200,000, you know.
My grandparents' house went for, when they died.
All it takes, one movement.
One movement. It's their house was sold when they passed away in the 70s for like $20,000. The last I heard, it went for $150,000, and it's a tiny house. It's a little tiny house on a side street in South Philly.
How many rooms in that, Selma?
Let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11.
How many toilets?
1.
right, that's right.
That came in later too. That came in the 1920s.
I lived on Chestnut Street, and there was 8 in our family, and then grandfather and my cousin, everything was 10 or 12, whatever. 1 toilet, you know. And sometimes that's how, what the one comedian says, that's how you learn how to sing, knocking on a door.
You do. Yeah, row homes are notorious.
So, all right, now, I got another audio from this gentleman to send down. And how does the preservation of Selma and other historic buildings affect Norristown?
Well, that's where when there's a
Some of these questions will overlap. But
oh yeah, no problem, because I love talking about how it helps. Our building, we're trying to get the community to come in, take pride in what was there, and we do meet people that knew the last family that lived there, the last couple. But there's also the firehouse down on Main Street. There is now a brewery in there.
yeah.
And they've done a beautiful job. So they're trying to revitalize that section, building by building, basically. And that's how, when you keep
What
it,
are you working on? Any in front burner?
well, not another house, but in our house in Selma, because unfortunately the heater wasn't there, we have a lot of maintenance work, not just maintenance work, but to bring the house back. We have.
Well, if you have to do some repairs, you have to get the okay from Historic Society or something?
We have a wonderful gentleman, one of our local restoration architects. He helps us. But like the internal thing, like a heater, we make sure that we don't go cutting through the 200 and something year old wood. We'll go hiding it somewhere where it doesn't show and it doesn't affect the house. Like the heater that we're going to have come in. It's been a bad summer, as you know, really rainy, so we had to wait until we can clean out the basement. So that's a big one that we're doing. We also make sure the stucco on the side, we had stucco pulled off, and we found the original way the house was. Somebody put stucco in the 1960s on
Who
the side.
does it? Volunteer work or?
Well, for some
You
of
have
the
to pay
stuff,
for it?
well, some of it we do, and that's why we do fundraisers or try to get grants. We have two wonderful men there that bring in their volunteers to Bill Freeman and Bill Dude. They do a lot of our work. They're putting a lot of our, making sure the windows are put in the basement. Their job right now is incredible. And the rest of us, our job is to get them the money to do it by events and by showing the house and trying to make connections and then also make connections history-wise. Elena, our historian, she's a local girlfriend. She still lives in Norristown, and her family has been there for years. She's a phenomenal historian, and she's finding what we need. And she found out, just for when I say primary source, she found the stuff, the actual paperwork, about how many Irish servants they had in the turnover. So for me as a social historian, it's like, oh yeah, that's what my family did. They got a job, found another better job, found another, that type thing. But our projects are keeping the house sound, because water gets in, you have to watch, what that's like. It will rot the wood. It will get through the plaster, and it's the old horsehair plaster in there. It's a beautiful, comfortable house. You could picture the family.
What are you projecting for it? What do you wind up with? After you get it fixed
After
up
we get
and
it fixed
everything,
up,
what do you want it to do?
We're probably at first, when I was there, we were
Can it make a tourist place?
Well, we'll take anybody in. Anybody wants, connect on our Facebook page, and we will take you through for a tour. But a lot of it, I think, is to try to get a lot of the information and save the information for future generations of Norristown. Not just that house, but the whole area. When we say Norristown preservation, other houses, people that live there. We'll probably have information on you. Both of us will be gone. Your information will be in there because you're part of Norristown. Where the old schools were, we're trying that, because right now house museums, nobody wants to go to a house museum because they want it alive. So we want to try to.
Yeah, right.
That's why we do like history
Do you
days.
have the people in there dressed the traditional way, like
I do living history myself. Living history.
Where is it? Someplace up in Lancaster or so, and they get dressed with the hats that
Well, we can go anywhere from 1794 to 1984. I think when the family lived.
Get some costume company.
Well, I do living history, so I will pop in, but.
You want to make Norristown a tourist? Okay, let me give you an idea. Let me give you a thing.
I'll take ideas, I need them.
You got everybody, got one over here, one over there, one over here. That's it. We got the greatest thing. We're only 3 square miles, and we have something to give, but we have to put it together, okay?
Yep.
Whether council goes along with it, I know the county would help, but my suggestion would be if somebody wanted to spend a day in Norristown, he would start in the morning to go to the zoo.
Yes. I love
After the zoo, we'd go visit the Columbus Monument, okay, which is now I don't know if you've been there, but they just have all technical stuff now. You can hit it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You got to go see that.
Yes.
That's the Columbus Monument. And then go to Selma House, right?
Yep.
And then you go to the theaters down there, Center
yes.
Theater. So you got the whole day. And then if you still have energy, you go to the casino. We got it right here. So why don't this here Preservation Society hook up with tourists, with the Valley Forge tourists?
I have been in contact with them, and
let
trying
them
to.
contact and they gotta make it an all-day thing. You know, start in the morning at the zoo here, there.
Well, that's what's nice about what you suggest too, because Elmwood Park Zoo is doing a beautiful job.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable.
And they bring in people. We're trying to, because we're all private donations, we're all volunteers.
Yeah.
So trying to get the house to the point where
All right,
people
if somebody
come.
wants to make a donation, what do they do? Where do they
Well,
send it?
they can contact us at the website, not the website, I'm sorry, the Facebook page, but we also have a PayPal thing, which is PASelmamansion@AOL.com is how to reach us and do a donation that way.
Okay, you going to have a fundraiser, anything like that coming up?
Well, we're having our last event in November, which is November 11th. We're doing
11th. The
Yep.
9th is my birthday.
Well, you will come in. We'll have a birthday and an event. And I'm sorry, no, I'm gonna have to. It is a Saturday. So your birthday's on a Friday, so it's that Saturday. So it is the 10th.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
mine's
the 10th.
and the 9th is on a Friday.
You're right. So our event was still on the 10th. It's a Saturday, and it goes from 9 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
What's going on? What are they going to do there?
Well, the first floor is going to be all holiday. We'll have singers, traditional holiday. And then upstairs we'll have some local vendors, like people that make their own things. We want local. Try to get the community.
What do you mean? They make
Crafts.
craft.
Yeah. And then the only thing we're asking for
They
this
can
is,
make any money there.
well, this one's more for the community, because
Why don't you get somebody to donate? Go to the casino and get a.
that I'd like them to do.
Yeah, I have a contact over there. It's gonna give you maybe a weekend.
As a
Have
raffle.
a drawing, weekend at the casino or a
That
dinner
would be
dinner at
one of their-
Joe's Sloppy Joe sandwich or something, something
Well,
like that.
One of our ladies, Michael Lane, she is looking for raffle things. That's how we'll make the money.
You gonna do something like that?
Oh yeah, we do great raffles.
Yeah.
Our raffles are wonderful because.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a fundraiser at the Selma, so keep your eyes open. Check with the Times Herald
Yes.
there, and check with Facebook, right?
Yep, and we'll try to
And-
put it all over the
Yeah,
paper.
And this show here will be helping. We will help
Definitely.
anybody to help raise money for a cause.
And
And
what-
this is a great cause.
And what we're doing is to give back to the community. We ask people to bring a non-perishable item to go to a local food bank, so that people who have less that need food for the holidays, that's what we're asking people when they come in, if they could just bring something, and we can give it. Take it right over to the food bank later
Right.
that day.
How many people on your board?
Our board itself is here we go, about 7.
Is Judge Nicholas's wife, she on there?
No, right now it's just we have like single moms, we've got people that work in industry. We have some retired people. We're very, right now, our board is a very hands-on board.
Good.
We show up, if we can, to almost everything. And it's fun. We have a great group of people. They're a lot of fun. We've made a lot of friends in the community that way. Just come on in. I usually do the history tours or the ghost tours.
Oh, yeah.
And I do those. And it's just a fun time and very casual, very warm and inviting.
All right. Now, your society, what else do you do within the community?
Well, right now, this was our main
Everything
focus.
is right now is Selma.
Right now, but we also used to, we talked to the other buildings, like I mentioned, the firehouse. Those people did a wonderful job.
The firehouse
That
down there.
has become.
The Five Saints?
Yes, the Five Saints.
Yeah.
They took us on a tour. We gave them a.
Okay.
We have given them a plaque that we are so thrilled with what they've done. We used to, and we're going to try it again, to give awards out to local places that are doing good preservation.
All right, another question from this gentleman up there. He must be a senior citizen because he says, how has Selma changed over the past 20 years?
Well, it went from almost being ripped down.
What's that?
It almost was ripped down 20 years ago. It was sold at auction. And then that's where you see that it's a beautiful, well, it was at one time a beautiful piece of ground. We have wonderful neighbors now, but it's all apartments around us. So we're just a little plot of ground. The house was in good condition when the original Preservation Society started. Right now, because they did a beautiful job of collecting the money and buying the place. Now it's our job to keep the house up.
Keep it going, right?
And get people's interest in it. We had a few years there that people weren't interested at all, even on the board. One year it was 3 of us would meet together. Now we have a very active board. I'm very honored to be with.
Well, Mary Ellen.
Oh, yes.
She's the one that told me about it. Also, Rochelle Griffith. You
Yes,
know, both of them. They were supposed to be on this show.
Oh, okay.
So they withdrew, so you could come on.
Oh, that was very sweet of them. That was very nice.
And did they have any animals or anything?
Yes.
What did they have?
Well, Mrs. Fornance, Ruth Fornance, the last woman, had dogs. She had big white German shepherds.
Dogs?
Big white German shepherds.
Yeah, and what else? Did they have any chickens or?
Well, when it was a farm.
Or, did they have any donkeys or
When
horses or anything like that?
When it was a farm, they would have had all the farm animals. When it was a farm, when the
All right,
porters
can I make a suggestion? You get some artificial, cows, calf, you get them, and they'll be there. You don't have to put the real ones out there. Wouldn't that be nice?
It would look good, especially for our events.
Yeah, get whatever. Have a nice dog. Have a nice dog near the steps, and some. They have some chickens or whatever kind of animals, a little donkey or something. I don't know.
Well, what's
whatever
nice,
they had. Most likely they had a donkey
or a mule or something.
Yeah. So.
Well, when our house isn't is not fancy inside at all. So if we have people sometimes if they have their dog with them, we're like, and they're walking by just looking, we're like, come in, bring the dog, we don't care. You can't hurt this house. It's So we have dogs come through, but yeah, the family had pets. They had cats, they had dogs. I don't know if any had hamsters, but birds, things like that. They had their regular pets, and then the outside animals, cows.
Let me tell you, you got a lively audience up there. They got a lot of questions here, and do you have any relations up there in the audience? No, must know friends up there. They must know something. What are the 3 things that make Selma so special? Name 1 or 2, 3 things.
For me, that's very easy. The Andrew Porter, the man who built the place, and his legacy, what he left for us here in
Right.
Norristown and the United States. The house itself is very unique that it's that old and it's still standing, and it's a house that we call it a house that wants to live. And it's just all the people that come in for me make it special. The visitors, the guests, people who knew the family before and tell us stories, that makes it special and it brings people together. When you get there, you feel it. You want to stay there and visit again.
Yeah, well, you know, how about, that was there during the Civil War?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you start putting some flags out there?
Well, we were.
You know, I belong to the Patriotic Sons of America, and we have our headquarters over in Valley Forge. And we, in our big room, we have almost every flag the United States had.
Yeah.
You know.
That's
so I
nice.
think maybe it'd be nice to have a flag, whatever it was, you know, from the years, and see what kind of flag. Come over, check with our president.
Yeah.
Take a look at what kind of flags we got over there, and maybe, you know, you'll dress the thing up. You know, the flag's so important today,
Yes, it
especially
is.
now. Some guys don't respect it.
Now, we have a flagpole, but we want to make sure it comes down. We respect it, and we want to bring it down at night so it's not flying when it's
What do you
not
mean?
supposed
Well,
to.
you had to put a light. You know what I was thinking? When they make them flags, why can't they make it with the material that glows at night?
That would be fun.
And no one had no lights. Oh, well, okay. We'll think about that later, okay? All right, good. All right, here's another one from the audience, the gentleman with the brown jacket. What historical story is most engaging to visitors? What are the things you want people to know, and what's an attention getter?
Well, usually it's the very first
It's the
family.
people that live there.
Yes, it's Andrew Porter, definitely, because he was.
Who slept there? George Washington didn't sleep there, no?
No.
Who slept there?
The Porters, the Knoxes, no one really famous. A lot of the family then became governors in different states. Just the connection to Mary Todd Lincoln, I think, is fascinating. There's just the Knoxes themselves and the Fornances. They were very big. But my favorite story is usually about Andrew Porter himself and making him into a person and his family life. He had, unfortunately, his first wife died. He married again. I just think it's funny, both of his wives were named Elizabeth. It's like, couldn't think of any other name. His daughter was named Elizabeth. He sounds like he was a little bit of a feisty gentleman. From what we understand, Washington asked him to be a diplomat, and he's like, not me.
Yeah.
He was a little feisty guy.
Yeah.
Very protective man, very intelligent man. So, and then his wife ran the farm by herself when he'd be out surveying. So that family just amazes me when you.
Okay. I would like to see you, you know, make a contact. Bill Bridges, okay? You got to get. Now the Columbus Monument has technology. John Doyle, our director.
Yeah.
Al Zone, Stan Husky, Pat Mascara. They could go out there, call Al Zone and say you want to see what the new technology you put out there, where they can, with your phone, you can get some history all about it. You don't have to tell it. You go out there, stop there and see what's out there.
Yep. That sounds good.
All right?
Yep,
All right,
definitely.
okay. Now, the last question, all right. What are the challenges of this to the historic preservation? What are some of the challenges?
Keeping people interested.
What's that?
Keeping people interested.
Money.
Well, money is the big one.
Green folded stuff.
But you have to get the people's interest to give you the money. And get people that they want to see the place or any building, any historic building saved versus torn down to put up I like Wawa, but to put up a Wawa or put up something like that. Keep the old history alive is a big challenge in any preservation society. Keep people, the money is the major thing, but you have to get the people's interest that they'll give you the money.
Well, I think you should, the zoo, the Columbus Monument, the theater, you know, put it together, okay? And a lot of people are watching this show are going to help. We need a little green folding stuff, so when we have a fundraiser, please help out.
Yep,
All right, so give you 30 seconds. What do you want to say about Selma?
Selma. I am just so enthused about Selma. The community has been stepping up the last 2 years. They've been coming over. They've been finding us. So I'd like just to invite everybody to come over. Our final, it's November 10th is our final for the season event. But you can see the house. You can just enjoy advanced holiday, meet your neighbors in a lot of ways, and meet our local craftspeople, and so you're supporting them too. So for me, just the enthusiasm in the house. We're a good group.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And you're a fighter, so you go in there and start punching. Bow, bow,
Definitely.
bow. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, here it is to you.
Thank
All right,
you.
in the Selma house, and good luck and God bless
Thank you so
Raven.
much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing us to come in there. But now we're doing things to make Norristown glow, okay? And so we have the zoo, we have the Columbus Monument, we have the Selma House, we have a lot of others that we didn't even mention. So if anybody has any ideas, if there's anything you want to do for the benefit of Norristown, Selma House or anything, let me hear it. Wide open here. So until we meet again, may God bless each and every one. Keep bobbing and weaving, left hand high, stick and move, and keep your trunks off the canvas. Okay. Thank you. Adios, amigos.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.